Turning to the Murdaugh family murders trial, a case that fascinated the world and put South Carolina's Low Country on the spotlight. Now, disgraced attorney Alec Murdaugh was found guilty of killing his wife Maggie and his son Paul in cold blood. Now, although Alec Murdaugh's career as a defendant is far from over, if you recall, during the trial, we heard testimony about the family's housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield, and her mysterious death on the Murdaugh's Moselle property. Now, her son, Tony Satterfield, testified he never received the millions of dollars in insurance money that Murdaugh guaranteed him while serving as the Satterfield's family attorney. Let's take a look back at some of that testimony as well as what Murdaugh had to say about it while on the stand.
You said your mom had a trip and fall at Moselle at their property?
Yes.
And she go to the hospital?
Yes.
Was she ever able to tell you how she tripped or anything like that?
No.
I remember lying to Tony Satterfield, and I remember looking him in the eye on many occasions.
And lying to him?
Yeah.
Okay. Lying to his family?
I lied to his family. I don't know if I did it in person, but I know I had phone conversations with him where I lied to him.
Now, an important thing to note from that clip is that Tony Satterfield admitted that he never heard from his mother exactly how she tripped and fell. Now, at that time, that was Alec Murdaugh who offered up that explanation about the family dogs that had caused Gloria Satterfield to fall. And the admitting emergency doctor wrote in his notes that Gloria had told hospital staff that she doesn't know why she fell. Now, in new documents released by Murdaugh's attorneys, they claim he lied about the cause of her death in order to eventually steal the Satterfield's insurance money. And it goes like this. On February 2nd, 2018, Gloria Satterfield faints and falls down steps at Moselle in Colleton County. On information and belief, based on the subsequent investigation of her death by Mr. Murdaugh's insurer, Ms. Satterfield's medical conditions and the side effects of medications taken for those medical conditions caused her to faint and fall down the stairs. Mr. Murdaugh is not at Moselle when she falls, but he arrives on the scene before emergency medical services. Now, March 18th, 2018, Mr. Murdaugh informs a Nautilus adjuster that he seeks coverage under his umbrella policy for Ms. Satterfield's death. On March 22nd, 2018, in a conversation with the insurance adjuster, Mr. Murdaugh says that Ms. Satterfield briefly regained consciousness before EMS arrived on February 2nd, 2018, and told him, but no one else, that Mr. Murdaugh's dogs caused her to fall, thereby implicating over $5.5 million in insurance coverage. Now, a week later, Murdaugh gave a deposition while meeting with an insurance investigator and told him that the dogs caused Satterfield to fall.
When you were talking with Gloria before she was taken away, did she describe the chain of events in any way to you? Obviously, she was out of it.
She indicated that the dogs had caused her to fall.
Okay. And she was at the base of the front steps.
She was.
When you arrived.
My understanding was she was sitting on the base of the steps when I arrived. Now, my understanding from my wife, when she found her, she was unconscious, and her head was on the landing area, and her feet were up the steps.
So she was like she was upside down.
Well, I think she was laying on her back or on her side, but her feet were up on like the second step, and her head was on the ground. So she was literally on the steps with her head down on the brick landing area.
22nd, 2019, at mediation, Nautilus agrees to pay $3.8 million of the $5 million limit, far more than Nautilus expected or intended to pay. Now, Nautilus's adjuster blames defendant and is angry with him for causing Nautilus to pay far more than it expected. April 11, 2019. Mr. Westendorf signs a release of claims against Mr. Murdaugh as personal representative of the estate, acknowledging receipt of the $505,000 settlement from Lloyd's of London and the $3.8 from Nautilus. Now, put simply, the fact that Mr. Murdaugh lied about his own liability for Ms. Satterfield's death to fraudulently obtain insurance proceeds to perpetuate his severe opioid drug habit, while highly disconcerting, is heartily unbelievable given Mr. Murdaugh's admitted actions and financial dealings during this time. It is another chapter in the bleak and dispiriting story of a man brought to his knees by a crippling drug addiction, who also had the means and knowledge to effect great financial harm upon others to feed that addiction. The Satterfield family alleges Mr. Murdaugh stole approximately $4.3 million from them. The truth is that he stole it from Lloyd's of London and Nautilus. All right, let's bring back in the tank to get their thoughts on all of this. Stay with us live in studio. Entertainment attorney Daryl Cohen, criminal defense attorney Molly Palmer, and criminal defense attorney Josh Schiffer. And Daryl, I'll start with you. I mean, I still can't figure out what the purpose of his attorneys trying to get rid of that judgment. They're not going to get their hands on that money. The victims are not going to get their hands on that money. What's going on?
I think the lawyers are being paid handsomely, and the more they argue, the more they're in court, the more money they're making. Look, this seems to me as if Hollywood had two screenwriters, not on strike. One wrote one script that Murdaugh read, and the other wrote a completely different script that Murdaugh later read, and he can't remember because he doesn't recognize the truth if it hits him in the face.
Oh, you mean he wasn't telling the truth?
Oh, well, he might have been telling the truth about not telling the truth.
Right, I think that's the other time.
More
but even then, you got to question it, Molly, right? Yeah. Right. I mean, but at the end of the day, you know, what's interesting about this is that there are a lot of people who believe that maybe this is a spite move. And I just have trouble buying that. You know, the Satterfield son testified against him in court, and this has something to do with that. I don't know. Your thoughts?
Right. I mean, would I put it past Alec Murdaugh to be doing something out of spite at this point, given all that he's lost? I mean, I wouldn't. But what's interesting to me is that we are litigating, like, which fraud/lie did Alec do? Nobody in this case is saying he did not lie nor do some sort of fraudulent action. We all agree that he did. The question is which one. And basically the backstory is that the Satterfields have recovered a lot of money, but not from Nautilus. And so that's what's on the table. Is this Nautilus money going to go to the Satterfields? And I think that the Satterfields do find that to be important, despite the fact that they have received some sums already.
You know, Josh, as I read through all these insurance papers and their investigation, I said, had that been you or me, you know what I mean? We would have had to have fought much harder. They sort of succumbed to him very quickly, talked a lot about his reputation and all the work that his firm had done in sort of raising the amount of money that juries were given. It was so ironic. At the end of the day, we wouldn't have gotten that treatment.
This was a really well-known practice.
Yes.
This is not a practice that was chasing little bumper car. No. These were major litigators, big-time PI money. It's huge. And here's what I can say about what I believe is going on with this sudden change. There's a lot of money on the line. There's a lot of lawyers who got exposed that we don't even know about. As much information, as much transparency, as much coverage as we've seen, there's a huge number of stories that we're never going to know about. Some of that has to do with who did what to who and how can you get them back and who can cover this kind of loss and are there clawback provisions? Going out and making such an affirmative change of testimony, basically admitting, I'm a liar, I'm a worse liar than I already have been convicted of. There's a reason for that. I can't tell you exactly what the motivation is.
Right.
But I bet there's a few million little green men that are deeply involved in why that change is happening, and Alec Murdaugh benefits from it somehow.
Somehow, yeah. And you know, with these types of things, you know, Darryl, you follow the money, right? At the end of the day, we don't know where that money might end up, where it might go, but you follow the money and you'll find out why he's doing this.
I like to follow the yellow brick road, and then there's the great Wizard of Oz that Alec Murdaugh believes himself to be. Yeah.
yeah. You know what's interesting, and I'm going to reach into my conspiracy briefcase here. Okay?
Where is it?
I think, you know, we were all looking for a motive for the murder of Maggie and Paul, right? Paul might have been collateral damage, but Maggie, you know, she was aware of the condition of Gloria Satterfield on that property. When she got wind of what maybe Alex was saying about what he told her while on the property, maybe she realized who her husband really was and said, you know what, you need to get that money back. You need to do something about this because I can't live with this. Ooh. And maybe, you know, that's a motive for him to kill, money.
We'll never,
that's a good one.
We will never know. But on the other hand, if she was living well, it may have been sort of a stretch for her to say, give it back, but don't give it all back, because after all, you're a druggie and you're taking all of our money. It's hard to say. We'll never know.
Molly, but maybe she didn't know to what extent this whole thing had gone. You know, there's probably, wives generally have a general idea that maybe something weird is going on.
Tell us more.
But they're willing, listen, they're willing to turn a blind eye because they're living a good life.
Yeah.
But when you start doing it to Gloria Satterfield, someone who I think admittedly was close to the family, although they didn't treat her very well. I think they paid her $10 an hour. She'd been working for them for 20 years. But someone they cared for and cared for their children, maybe that was where she drew the line.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, when it comes to the Low Country, there are a lot of secrets and a lot of wealthy families like this, and there's a lot of incentive for people to keep their mouth closed. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you are exactly correct, Michael.
Yeah, so, you know, just love to throw my little conspiracy theories out there. Every now and then, I don't dabble too much, but every now and then I have them. All right.